associates gave way to the idea that something more was going on. From there, the idea of so-called Epstein files.
The Epstein list. Over 3 million documents released to the public, and every time a new set is unsealed or a new name is whispered in connection to Epstein Island, their internet catches fire with rage while others feel numb to it all. But have you ever stopped to ask why? It's because we're living in the era of the unpunished powerful. We see a system that seems to protect the few at the expense of the many, and it creates this low-grade fever of rage in our gut. We feel like the scale of justice is broken, and honestly, they're right. Well, sort of. Hi, I'm Jay, and this is part 1 of my new series, Nothing New Under the Sun. Today we're talking about the Epstein files, not to speculate on the guilty, but to talk about the one thing that we all want to see but are afraid of in our own lives: accountability. So let's be real. Modern life feels like a game where the rules are only for the people who can't afford to break them. If you have enough zeros in your bank account, the law starts to feel like a suggestion. I mean, the Epstein files were released, and several celebrities we know and loved were on it. Most were outraged for a minute, while some let it slide when we saw them at the Grammys looking perfectly polished. We watched these well-dressed socialites strut around our TV screens, and if you know even a portion of what was done on that island, you feel a sense of disgust. We want to believe that justice is blind, but the headlines tell us justice is just expensive, and you fear that these people won't have to foot the bill. This leads to a specific kind of modern nihilism. If the bad guys never face the music, why should we even bother being good? Why follow the rules of a game that's rigged? This is the silence of the snow. I mentioned in a previous video applied to morality. It's the urge to just stop caring because it feels like nothing matters anyway. But here's the truth. Our obsession with the list is actually proof that we do believe in a higher law. If there is no ultimate right and wrong, then the things that happened on that island were just preferences. But that can't be. We know better. Our outrage proves that we believe in an objective standard of justice. The problem is we're terrified the standard will never be met. Well, at least not in this life. The atrocities taking place this day and age, as King Solomon said, is nothing new under the sun. In the ancient world, there was a Canaanite god named Moloch. Now, he represented a horrific exchange, human sacrifice for the promise of blessings. The elites of that culture would offer up their own children, the most innocent among them, to be consumed by fire. Why? Because they believed that by sacrificing the vulnerable, they would gain power, reign, and financial prosperity. It was the ultimate transactional evil. They were willing to burn the future to secure their own comfort today. When we look at the Epstein files, we are looking at the return of the Moloch spirit. It's the same old story. The powerful and the influential using the most vulnerable as currency of pleasure and wickedness. Scripture is relentless in its condemnation of this. God promised that He would set His face against anyone who stood by and let it happen. He promised a day when the hidden high places would be torn down and the cries of the innocent would finally be answered. And as a result, the Canaanite people ceased to exist. So you might ask, if God destroyed the wickedness of the past, why doesn't He wipe out evil again? I'll answer that question with another. What if God decided to do just that, but instead of starting with the people on the Epstein list, He started with you? If we demand a God who is holy enough to destroy the followers of Moloch, the citizens of Sodom and Gomorrah, and the Amalekites, we have to face the fact that we're all, in our own ways, sinners as well, which God also sees as evil. That's where the gospel becomes the ultimate subversion. In the Moloch system, the innocent are sacrificed for the gods, but in the gospel, the God is sacrificed for the guilty. Jesus took the fire of judgment that we deserved, the fire that should fall on every person who has ever sinned, and He stood in the gap. Because, in a way, we all have files before God, and yet, Jesus paid the penalty for them. So the next time you see a headline about the Epstein files, let it remind you that the high places of this world are temporary. The powerful might duck the cameras today, but no one ducks the Creator. Don't just walk away from the injustice of the world in apathy. Make sure you're walking toward the only judge who has already settled our debt. Until next time, remember, there's an explanation for everything. Let's find it together. I'll see you in the next one.